Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 87 of UFLI. Today we are going to do the day one of the vowel teams for the long I sound. Here's our 5 steps and we're going to get right into our phonemic awareness. So first I'm going to tap out a word and I want you to blend that word together. I, lie. It, fight. It, right. Slight, slight. Good. Now I'm going to tell you a word, and I want you to repeat the word and then tap it out for me. The first word is pie. Pie. Tight. Tight. Cried. I'd cried. Bright. Bright. Good. That leads us to cha-ching. Moving on to that visual drill. So with a visual drill, I'm going to show you a letter, and I want you to tell me what that letter spells. So, for example, A spells A spells A. O-A spells O. O-W spells O. O-E spells O. E-E spells E. E-A spells E. E-Y spells E. A-I spells A. A-Y spells A. I-R spells U-R spells E-R spells O-R spells or. O-R spells O-R-E spells or. A-R spells R. Y spells ye. Y spells I. Y spells E. D-G-E spells J. G spells G. G spells J. T-C-H spells Ch. C-H spells Ch. I spells I. I spells I. And that leads us to cha-ching. Moving on to that auditory drill. So I'm going to say a sound. And what I would like for you to do is to tell me, write down all of the ways to spell that sound. So the first sound I would like you to spell is O, the long O sound. And I believe, if I remember correctly, we should have 5 spellings. Kind of ran out of room there, but we should have 5 spellings. O, O consonant E, O-A, O-W, and O-E. Good, go ahead and give that a erase. The next word next sound I would like you to spell is E. E, the long E sound. There should be 6 spellings. Six different spellings there. E, E consonant E, E-E, E-A, E-Y, and Y, because Y at the end of a multisyllabic word spells E. Go ahead and erase your board or wipe paper pencil on whatever you're using. The next sound, will you please spell the long A sound? There should be 4 spellings. A consonant E, A-I, and A-Y. Good. Next, will you please spell the long, spell There should be 4. E-R-I-R-U-R and O-R. Good. Next, will you please spell or? Should be 2 spellings, O-R and O-R-E. Next, spell R. Remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video and then restart it. R. Next, will you please spell the long I sound? I. And I have 3 different spellings for you for the long I sound. Next, will you please spell J? j. So in my class, if your board looks like this, you're correct. However, if you add an E after that G, you are even more correct with what we have learned so far. And our last spelling for today, will you please spell the sound ch, ch? I have two different spellings for ch. Good. Go ahead and erase that board. You can set it to the side. And we are done with that for right now. That is going to lead us to cha-ching. Moving on to our fourth step for today, that blending drill. So I'm going to show you a word. All we're doing is tapping it out and reading it together. So for example, we would tap wish. The next word, the first word that we're going to start with is low. O-W spells O. F-L-O, flow. F-L-E, flee. F-L-E-T, fleet. F-L-O-T, float. G-L-O-T, gloat. G-O-T, goat. M-O-T, moat. Remember, moat is that kind of river around a castle. M-at, mat. M-8, mate. L-8, late. L-ace, lace. That C spells the soft S sound because of that E. L-A-N, lane. L-A-N, lan, nasal A. B-A-N, ban. B-A-N, bun. B-A-D, bud. B-A-J, budge. N-A-J, nudge. That leads us to cha-ching, moving on to that new concept for today. So we have the long I sound as an ice cream. Okay, we already know I consonant E can spell that long I sound, like in the word kite, that bossy E telling the I to say its name. And we already know that I can spell I as an open syllable, like in this word tiger. I is the last letter, or that last sound of that first syllable, so the I spells its name. I, tiger, tiger. Good. And we already also have learned that Y can spell I at the end of a one-syllable word, like in the word fly. Now, vowel teams, again, what we've been talking about a lot recently. A vowel team is two or more letters that work together to make one sound. The first vowel team for that long I sound is IE. IE spells I at the end of a word, like in the word pie or the word tie. Notice that I sound is at the end of those words, pie and tie. The next vowel team that we have is IGH. IGH is a vowel team that spells I, and it typically comes in the middle of a word, like in the word light, light, and the word might, might. Okay, now it can come at the end, not as typical, but it can come at the end, like in the word high, high, like up high, or the word sigh. Give me a good sigh. Sigh. Okay, so now we have 5 ways to spell the long I sound, and those bottom two, IE and IGH, are those new spellings that we have. First, let's watch me as I read these words. I notice IE here at the end, and I just learned IE spells I, so I'm going to tap this word tie. Tie your shoes. I just learned that IGH spells I, so when I tap this word, I'm going to tap sight. Like your sight, how can you see? IE again, so I, lie. IGH, I, high, up high. IGH again, night, at night. Good. Okay, now you're going to help me read these ones. Tap them with me. Pie. Right. Fight. Bright. Flight. Multisyllabic word. Sun. Light. Sunlight. Good. Okay, watch me spell these first few words here. The first word I'm going to spell is pie. Now, when I hear that word pie, I'm going to tap pie. I hear the long I sound at the end of the word. So I'm going to spell the long I sound with an IE because I hear it at the end of a word. Now, it could be IGH, but in this case, it is not IGH. IGH usually comes in the middle. The next word I'm going to spell is I'm going to spell the word might. And if I tap it, it's might. And I hear that I sound in the middle. And I just learned in the middle, IGH spells I. So that's the word might. IGH, might. Your turn. Go ahead and grab your whiteboard marker, pencil, paper, whatever you have. And will you please spell the word lie? Lie. The end of the word, I-E, lie. Next, will you please spell the word tight? Tight. Tight. I in the middle is IGH. Tight. Close together, tight. Next, will you write flight? Tap. Flight. I hear that I sound in the middle again, so I know it's going to be IGH because that's what we're working with. Flight. And we're going to do one more. The last word is bright. If I tap it, it's bright. I in the middle of a word. IGH again, bright there at the bottom. Good job. Okay, and that, I believe, leads us to the end of our lesson for today. Cha-ching, and I'll see you guys in day 2. Have a good one.